Hello, everyone, and today I am going to be discussing this upgraded high risk threat, and I will be talking about the potential flooding and the potential severe weather through the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, as well. But first, let's start with this day one risk. And as I mentioned in my video uh, yesterday, when we just had this enhanced, that a moderate upgrade would be very likely across sort of in the same regions to now, but they have now upgraded that to a high risk across Memphis, suburbs of Little Rock, Jackson, Tennessee, up north, very close to Paducah. This is a tornado-driven high risk, 30% hatched. Again, Little Rock suburbs, east and south, Memphis, Tennessee, Jackson, Tennessee, Paducah. Evansville is in that 15%. So is Little Rock, Greenville, Mississippi as well. Shreveport's in the 10%. Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Columbus also in that 10% hatched. So if you're in those areas, be weather aware today. It's very important, especially if you're in the red and the pink here. It's extremely important to be weather aware and to be cautious of the storms heading towards you um, at all times today. Not only that, but we do have a wind threat here. This is from southern Michigan down to um, southern Arkansas. And then our hail threat extends really into the bulk of northern Texas here, all the way up into Fort Wayne, Indiana. So large hail at the baseball size, winds up to 80 miles per hour. And then EF3 plus tornadoes possible today. Very, very busy day today. And to go off that here, this is from NOAA.gov. Um, we can see our main convection line out to our west here with these high top clouds. But we can see some balanced heating, meaning we see a good mixture between sun and clouds. We can see the sun peeking out in most of these locations. We have some higher clouds um, up north, but through Mississippi, southern Arkansas, even parts of western Tennessee, we've been having this sort of partial clearing, balance clearing. This is going to help with the potential of overmixing, which is about the only sort of nail in the coffin variable that could really downplay this high risk is overmixing and how much surface heating can one place get compared to the other. And this is a fairly good look. We can see maybe some additional surface heating around on the river here in Mississippi, but very balanced surface heating. We can see the clouds and the sun mixed well together here, and that's I think that's going to help um in a bad way, sort of not let the mixing really happen. So that is something I'm watching as well. So I'm just gonna go over the what the radar could look like. I'm gonna go over our parameters, our tornado severe weather parameters real quick, and this is not gonna be too long of a video here. So this is our NAM, not very great with the convection. But as we see by 1 o'clock in the NAM, we can see that main line. Um, you can see that main line sort of approaching central Arkansas. As we move on, this is around 5 o'clock. We can see some individual sort of cells here, sort of maybe clustered in. Oh, excuse me. Maybe sort of clustered in some, but um, nothing too impressive looking. But however, as we move on to the evening, we will see some discrete activity possibly happen along this main line all the way down through the Mid-South, Upper Ohio Valley here. According to the NAM, we could take a sounding kind of right on the border of Illinois, Kentucky, and Indiana here. And yeah, I mean, this is about as serious as you can get here. We have our 0 to 3 kilometer hodograph curve is looking very, um, that's very unfavorable for supercells and supercells that have a lot of spin in them. Our 3 cape is at 100. That is substantial enough. Our cape is almost at 3,000. Our mixed layer cape is at 2,500. And this is a pretty fat hodograph here. Especially in our mid levels. This is a very serious looking sounding here. This is not good at all. I'm gonna take one uh, closer to the just the Memphis general area here, and I think this is even worse here. I think this is probably one of the better photographs I think I've ever seen curvature wise. I mean, 0 to 3, we're talking almost a perfectly, just a perfect curve there. Of course, I mean, there's more that goes into this than a photograph curve, but very very significant looking curve here. That's going to be supportive of very rapidly and intensifying supercells, rapidly rotating supercells. Our 3 cape is 121. Our surface cape is approaching 4,000. Our mixed layer is 3,500. This is again fat cape here. This is about as serious as you can get for this area. Um, Let me take one in sort of southern Arkansas here. I mean, again, a very impressive curve. Not as the critical angle, but the curve isn't as oppressive as it was for Memphis. But again, our cape is just through the roof here. Um, Honestly, this is unbelievable. Uh, Very scary situation as we through the move on through the night here. This is around 7 p.m. Wednesday. Yeah, we can see these cells through southern Indiana, southern Illinois, western Kentucky. We take a sounding up here closer to, I mean, yeah, even closer up north to southern Indiana, we have an impressive curvature. We have enough. Our surface cape isn't great at all. It could be a little bit contaminated. Let me go back an hour. Yeah, surface cape's still not great, but our mixed layer cape, I mean, look at that curvature there. That's a very impressive curvature, even for southern Indiana. Cape wise, not as impressive as down south, but still, this is a very serious looking sounding for southern Indiana. Probably even into southwestern Ohio, northern Kentucky. Don't be, this area is only under this area is only under a 15% hatched. Parts of that southern Indiana is and northern Kentucky in that 15%. Don't be shocked. Indianapolis, Cincinnati, it's a little bit south of Cincinnati. It's sort of this region here. If there is a serious tornado or two throughout the day. And as we move on, that convection weakens and sort of a stalled frontal boundary here gets set up across the mid-south Tennessee Valley and Ohio Valley, and it's going to cause significant flooding possible. All right, I'm going to look at the HRRR here, and I'm going to use this also for the parameters. I will compare some of them with the NAM. But here's the HRRR, and as we move on, this is around 2 o'clock, 2 to 3 o'clock here. Something very important that I've noticed here is these discrete sort of cells across central Indiana, western Ohio, southern Indiana. Very interesting. Let's take a sounding kind of near the Dayton, Ohio area. Yeah, these cells, if any of these sort of storms And with this photograph here, pretty good looking curved photograph, not as intense as the one sat down south. However, we have really nice surface cape and nice mixed layer cape. Um, our curvature looks nice. Yeah, any developed, well-sustained cell in this sort of region through here um, this afternoon could see a quick spin up, and that quick spin up could be a pretty strong um, tornado. I don't know, long tracks would be possible in this area. I'm not really sure, but I know that a possible tornado, any well-developed cell across central southern Indiana, central southern Ohio, northern Kentucky, southern Illinois, western Kentucky, in that general area is possible. As we move on, you see they don't last too long, so that threat is very, I'd say, marginal. However, like I said, you get a strong developed cell, even for an hour, it could produce. And as we move on to the evening here, let's take a sounding southern Illinois, just to kind of compare. We see nice photograph here. Not as curved as the NAM, but a nice good layer of cape. Surface cape is 117. That is definitely favorable enough. Let's go down further south for like the Memphis region here. Um, Let me go back an hour. Again, the curvature not as impressive as the NAM kinematically, but thermo-wise, still relatively the same. We're talking 2600 surface cape, 2600 mixed layer cape. That is very impressive. Further south of the Arkansas, let's see. The curvature looks a little bit better. Not again, not nearly as impressive as the NAM, but again, our cape instability through the roof, um, enough to really offset the lack of curvature that the NAM has. Look at the surface-based cape here. This is HRRR still. This is 1 o'clock today, 4 o'clock today. We can see our sort of nice warm sector here across central Ohio, sort of eastern Kentucky southward. Parts of central Indiana could see 25 to 3,000 cape this afternoon. That is very, um, very high for that region this time of year. As we go on throughout the evening, that does weaken considerably. So, like I said, any storm you get this afternoon across, across this region here is going to have the environment to produce a potential tornado or two with some large hail. Um, but yeah, as we that kind of just gets eaten up, and then you see the Cape down south. But let's look at the NAM here. Let's look at their surface-based Cape, kind of compare, see what's going on. Yeah, I mean, fairly similar. Maybe not as strong up north of the Cape as the HRR, but very similar with the progression, with the location of this Cape, and even the strength of the Cape, of the amount of Cape is fairly similar. I do want to look at the updraft helicity. This is just helps us kind of depict mid-level rotation within the storms, and it's very important because for tornadoes you need mid-level rotation. So we can see that kind of sort of increased activity through late evening, early afternoon across the southern portions of Indiana, Illinois, but we can see our main sort of our high risk is through here. Yeah, so we can see our highlighted updraft helicity region is called Central Arkansas, Western Tennessee, Southern Missouri, Southern Illinois, sort of too. In that sort of region here, um, from the NAM. Let's look at the HRRR here. Um, more bullish on the potential updraft facilities across central, southern Indiana, western Ohio, southern Illinois. But again, we can see that kind of highlighted high risk area here, where the helicities approach the 70 to 90 meters per second squared, um, meter squared, seconds mega squared. So yes, very impressive here, and southern Indiana, western Ohio also could be according to the triple R, increased threat for some possibly rotating thunderstorms. So talk about Thursday real quick. So as this main line sort of comes through, it could bring some gusty winds, some strong, some heavy rains, excuse me, across our central Ohio, central Kentucky, eastward into West Virginia. And this frontal boundary will kind of stall, and we can see Thursday throughout the afternoon, some heavier rain, some thunderstorms possible. I don't think anything too severe is likely, but really the main focus here is flooding rains, and came out around this morning. Um, we can see a very sharp gradient here of like half an inch. Then if you go 50 miles north, you're getting to around 2 inches. It's a very sharp gradient. Some portions, southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, western Tennessee, western Kentucky, southern Illinois, and Indiana could all see up to 5 to 10 inches of rain possible. And I think there's going to be a sort of isolated region across northern Arkansas and western Tennessee, Kentucky, southeastern Missouri, where 10 to 15 inches is very well likely, especially if you get some training thunderstorms. But high value wise, a good 3 to 6 inches is likely across western Ohio. Um, so northern Kentucky could see maybe closer to six. Southern Indiana closer to 6 inches. Parts of West Virginia, I mean, if you're in the Charleston area, you're looking at about an inch, but the Huntington area, 2 to 3 inches. So a good soaking rain across western West Virginia as well. But really, the catastrophic life-threatening flooding will be down south, sort of in this region here that I'm going over with my mouse. Um, yeah, this is the area to watch out for the training thunderstorms. Um, I do want to, this for our day 2 outlook here. You can see most of West Virginia is under the slight risk here. Most of Kentucky is as well, and then further south, uh, westward. Main threats for this are going to be isolated tornadoes and damaging wind gusts up to 65 miles per hour. Hail is also possible, but that is mainly a threat for the southern mode. But the tornado and wind threat seems to be the main threats here for Thursday or tomorrow. So, National Weather Service does say that um, there are some complications um, from the convection today that moves through tonight. It's talking about this right here, this sort of line that moves through. Some kind of question marks on how that will impact Thursday's severe setup. So until then, I will be back shortly with another video next day or so. So until then, hope you guys stay safe and talk to you guys later.